Hello, my name is Manny. Today I'll be telling you about Bon Voyage, an app that's designed to help users learn and study new languages with a multitude of different learning methods and quick effective lessons that are made to get users learning a new language in a short period of time and feeling good about it. First, I started by checking our competition, which included Duolingo, Visual Vocabulary, and Magoosh Vocabulary Builder. Duolingo had a very easy sign-in process, a fun gaming-based design for its lessons, and a simple but very visually pleasing interface. But users were not pleased with the stiff, unnatural sentences they were being taught. Also, they didn't like that due to its gaming-based design, the lessons had health bars, and once you got a certain amount of questions wrong, you had to either quit the lesson or pay to continue. Now, with Visual Vocabulary, it had a great design that lets its users choose which words you would learn based on various categories of words. For example, you could choose from food, appearance, or environment, just to name a few. But it lacks a home screen. It has a limited number of languages to learn, and it didn't have any difficulty settings. And Magoosh Vocabulary Builder gave its users the ability to study for the SAT, GRE, and you can challenge random users that are in the same vocabulary level as you. But the audio quality, when the app was reading words out loud to the user, was really choppy. The lesson style was very repetitive, and users could not challenge friends or family. Now let me introduce to you Megan Stefani. She's a 28-year-old who lives in Los Angeles, California, has a bachelor's in business, and is going for her master's. She also works full-time and has recently been promoted to global sales accountant at the company she works for, which would have her traveling and dealing with different teams in Japan and Australia. But she has a problem because she doesn't know Japanese and wants to make a good impression on her supervisor and the teams in Japan by learning the language. She needs an application that will work around her tight, busy schedule and not demand a lot of her time, but be effective in teaching her. She also needs the app that will keep her focused on maximizing her time, keep her focused on her goal. She needs an app that will teach her to have natural interactions in the language so she can relate and be able to not only communicate, but make good relationships through these interactions. She wants an app that will focus more on learning actual talking and pronunciation rather than other traditional methods. The problem our team is trying to solve is developing an app that will teach natural conversation in short, engaging, effective spurts. Because Megan needs a way to learn new languages naturally, but through an app, so she can excel at her job by being able to communicate effectively with her international peers and enjoy her trips. The challenges that Megan faces is she's very busy between work and school and doesn't have much time to spare. She prefers to learn not by flashcards or word repetition because she finds it boring and repetitive, but rather learning through hearing and having actual conversations. She also needs a lot of reinforcement and a motivational push to get her to stay focused on her goals. I made 2 user flows to show the design and how to sign in and how the lesson would flow. They would first be in the onboarding screen where they would choose their current language, then choose the language they would want to learn, the difficulty, then it would bring them to a main screen with different word categories to learn from. After you pick a word from the category, you would Pick a learning method. The lesson begins, and after you complete it, would bring you to the results. The next screen then shows the users their progress, asking if they want to continue. If they do, they are given choices of the next level, whether repeat the current lesson or choose a different category. And if they decide to quit, they would get a prompt to set up a study schedule if they haven't done so already. And if the study schedule was already set, it would just show a reminder. The next user flow was about setting the study schedule. You would sign in while you were in the home screen. Choose the personal settings option. Hit the study schedule. Choose the days of the week you would want to study. Then set the times, or you can set it for the same time each day. They could set the type of notifications they wanted with various sounds, or you could import custom audio files. Then they could change the notification messages they received to say anything that they felt would possibly motivate them, like stop watching trash TV, it's time to study. I started to use the Crazy 8 method to get a basic visual concept going of how the app would work. It starts with the splash screen that would have the user picking their current language. Then that moves them into an intro that would tell them about the product and features while asking them the language they would want to learn. Once they choose it, it brings them to a sign-in screen that offers Google, Facebook, or making a username and password, or skipping the process and just trying the product out. After signing in, they enter the main screen, which allows them to choose the word category they would like to study. Once they pick the category, a dashboard screen for picking their preferred learning method would pop up. Once they pick the method, the lesson starts. After the lesson is done, it brings to the results screen. The results screen would be graded in a 5-star system, depending they would get between 1 to 5 stars depending on how well they pronounce the words in the lesson. After the results screen was the overall progression screen that would let the user know how they started and where they are now. Once I hit the prototype phase, I made some changes. For example, the main screen is different and now allows access to different features that would have been hidden in menus like progress reports, the study schedule, and challenge friends and family. Once the user clicked the Start New Lesson icon, it takes you to choose a word category from the dashboard, where they had a choice of a variety of different word categories to learn, like animal, restaurants, transportation, and the ability to add new categories if needed. Once the user picked the category, the learning method screen would appear and give you a choice of different learning techniques, from listening and speaking to flashcards, and also the option to change the language if they wanted to. After this, the lesson would start. To test the usability of the prototype, I tested it on 3 people, their task being to get through the signing process, starting and completing a lesson, setting up a study schedule, and using the Add Category feature. The problems identified in testing was that during the sign-in, users had issues understanding if they were choosing the language they knew already or the language they wanted to learn. Users had issues navigating the main screen due to icon placement and design. One user wanted the ability to exit the lesson and return to the learning method screen, but I did not have that feature included. Setting up the study schedule. The user had issues finding the icon and assumed that it was on the menu options of the main screen. When users were asked to find the Add Category option, they immediately looked in the menu options, and one user checked in the Change Language screen. For the prototype revisions, I changed the wording for the choose your language icon to choose your current language, and I fixed the spelling, which I learned is very important to the user experience. I redesigned the main screen with larger, clearer icons with better placement and images that help describe what the icons are for. I made it possible for users to exit lessons and return to them later, with it being saved. And I made it possible to add categories via the menu option while in the main screen. What's next for the project? I want a more engaging, game-based learning design. I also want to make a system where users can engage and help each other by one user saying a sentence and another user responding as we guide them through a full conversation, and there are rewards and points given, but also a sense of achievement by having an actual conversation. I want the ability, I want to continue trying to figure out ways to put natural conversation into the application. What have I learned? I've learned a lot through this process. I learned that I'm just one person with my own views and preferences, and that the users tend to have their own. I've learned a lot about app design and possibilities through user research and testing. The user design process has taught me to look at the world and ask, why are things set up this way? And, what was behind it? And what can possibly be done to make it better? I learned that design can always be improved, and it's just a matter of time and the people you're testing and your willingness to see a better way. Now, I have had a lot of problems with overthinking too much, causing me to waste a lot of crucial time, maybe things that just aren't that important. I have also no prior UX design experience, and I didn't understand a lot of the tools and applications that I have to use for the projects. Also, setting up user interviews can really delay a project because everybody has their own thing going on and not always available. And also, I just have a lot to learn. Well, that concludes my presentation for task 1.7. Um, Thank you for your time. You have a good day.